Glamour by Benjamin Krem's Master. A Master Speaks, Volume 1, page 49. Of all the problems which beset humanity, there is none greater than the problem of glamour. It provides the basis for all our difficulties and dangers, and holds the vast majority of humanity in thrall. It is at the root of every division and cleavage, and the source of every dimension of pain and suffering. It has its roots in the ancient past of mankind, and all but a very few are held under its sway. Essentially, glamour originates in man's sensuous feeling apparatus, the emotional or astral body, and in man's identification with its action. Through wrong identification with his feelings and emotions, his desire nature, he has surrounded himself with, and lost himself in, thick fogs of illusion and unreality. This constitutes the glamour in which most people live out their lives. Glamour is illusion on the plane of the emotions, and provides the greatest obstacle to progress for the individual and for the race. It throws a multitude of misconceptions across the path of the unwary, and the loftiest idealist is no freer from its influence. Nay, he is frequently more prone than the hardened cynic. To come to grips with glamour, humanity must recognize its mechanism, by which means the central heresy, that we are separate, is created and maintained. All that tends to reinforce the sense of separateness is the result of the action of glamour, and all that seeks to undermine that heresy works for its destruction. Glamour resides in the notion that man's desires are real, that they have their own intrinsic validity and purpose, whereas in truth they are the cause of all unhappiness, no more real, no less transient than the mirage of the desert. The well-meaning aspirant clouds his actions with desire for achievement. The idealist looks upon his as the only possible ideal that the right-thinking people could hold. Often do we see the absurdities of national pride lead nations into action against the interest of their peoples. These, the actions of glamour, are the product of desire for power and the fulfillment of ambition. The light of science has rid the world of certain ancient glamours, but created others in their stead. The glamour of possessions enthralls half the world, while the other half go hungry and die in misery and want. Eventually, humanity will work through this phase and establish a truer perception of reality. The myriad glamours which beset the race today will one day dissolve in the light of man's soul, invoked into manifestation as the new age proceeds. But the present is a time in which new types of energy are making their impact on man's lives and creating conditions of bewilderment and confusion. The heightened tension of the time fosters the glamours of fear and destruction, erupting into violence of all kinds. What can be done to free humanity from this ancient thraldom, in part innate in the nature of substance itself? How can man free himself from wrong identification and the tyranny of his self-created thought forms? The answer lies in a shift of focus from the self to the group, in a truer identification with the soul and its relation to all souls. The light of the soul, through the agency of the mind, is the great dissipator of glamour, and long ago the Buddha taught the conquering of desire, the noble middle path between the pairs of opposites. In the light of the soul, the essential unity is seen. The astral waves subside, and the aspirant finds himself at initiation's gate.